We're starting Eckler, starting the quarterbacks. Which quarterback do you like better, by the way?
Mahomes.
We're starting Mike Williams. Is he a slam dunk?
Starting him without even thinking about it.
He's a number 2 receiver.
And Eckler is obviously a slam dunk, even after a slightly disappointing game. We only played like half the snaps. It's pretty low, so we'll keep an eye on that. Okay, the tricky ones, I guess, would be the Chargers wide receivers other than Mike Williams and the Chiefs wide receivers, and then we'll talk about Clyde in a little bit. But let's talk wide receivers here. Who's the second best wide receiver in this game behind Mike Williams, assuming Williams is your highest ranked guy?
For me, it's Juju. I think he's a flex, though. So not really loving him as like a surefire slam dunk start. Could have a game similar to what we saw in week 1. Chargers played a lot of man coverage against the Chiefs last year, and that's where I think Smith-Schuster is going to struggle. The majority of his catches last week came against zone coverage. 2 of them did come against man coverage. One of them, he was lined up against a linebacker. So I don't blame Mahomes for throwing to Juju against a linebacker, and it was one of his bigger plays. I don't think that the Chargers rather are going to do that. Consider some other options with Juju. For example, got to bring up my rankings real quick, but a couple of receivers that I would start ahead of Juju this week. Tyler Boyd, I would go with him. Waddle, I would go with him. CeeDee Lamb would go with him. And Mike Williams, too.
I'm really interested in that. I mean, I'm very encouraged by Juju. He had 8 targets. He had 6 catches for 79 yards. He did fumble twice, but he only played 3 snaps in the fourth quarter, whereas MVS played 10. Hardman played 6. Sky Moore played 6. Justin Watson.
Edwards-Helaire played 0.
Yeah, I know. Right. So
what does that tell me? It tells me that the Chiefs were in conservation mode, knowing that they had a Thursday game.
And the fact that Juju Smith-Schuster had 79 yards in 3 quarters in a blowout win, and this game hopefully will be a shootout, I cannot imagine sitting him. But you're not saying to sit him.
No, I flex expectations.
Okay. Keith, are you higher on Juju than Dave?
We just showed my rankings that showed us in exactly the same spot, but yes,
I didn't see that.
I've got him, I think, at 27. So he's a number 3 wide receiver. He and Josh Palmer are basically tied for me. I think Palmer, I'm not buying into what DeAndre Carter did last week. So I expect it to be Williams and Palmer getting a majority of the targets. I don't know what that spread the ball around, run too much offense from the Chargers was. As a fantasy analyst, I hate it, and I don't want those people to be in charge anymore. As a Chiefs fan, I just hope the Chargers do that all year. And we'll wonder, how are the Chargers 9-8 and didn't make the playoffs again? But no, I think you start Mike Williams. Juju and Palmer are both good number 3 wide receivers. I don't really want to start Carter or MVS, and certainly not Sky Moore or Meikle.
Josh Palmer's 26% rostered. So he didn't do much last week because nobody had more than 4 targets, but he had a good game last year without Keenan Allen against the Giants. I don't have those numbers right in front of me. I'm sorry, but I can get them. But he had a good game. I believe he scored. And he had 66 yards and a touchdown on 7 targets when Justin Herbert threw 31 passes in that game last year. That's Josh Palmer we're talking about. So would you start Josh Palmer or Adam Thielen against the Packers?
Thielen.
Dave does not even rank Josh Palmer.
Yeah, you're not going to get many names ahead of Josh Palmer for me this week.
All right, let's talk about that, Dave. Heath just made the case for Palmer. He says he's got him right around where he has Juju Smith-Schuster, number 3 wide receiver. You're not interested in Palmer so much this week?
I'll take Carter. I think he gets more. I think he's got a safer floor than Palmer. Slot receiver guy, getting the opportunity to play, good short yardage and medium medium range target for Justin Herbert. And if Herbert's going to throw more and they're spreading the ball around like they did last week, who's to say that they both don't end up with the same amount of targets? I think with Palmer, he's going to have to score. I don't really like either one of them. I like Gerald Everett better, significantly.
Heath, since you're the higher guy on Palmer, would you rather have Palmer or Rashad Bateman against the Dolphins?
I've got Palmer and Juju ahead of Bateman.
Would you rather have Palmer or Allen Robinson? Oh, you have them back to back.
I've got Robinson, then Juju, then Palmer is where I'm at now.
Okay. How about DK Metcalf or Palmer?
DK, then Robinson, then Juju, then Palmer. Like you're just go to the guy right now. DK, then Juju, then Palmer, then Bateman, then Claypool, then Thielen, then
Okay.
London.
All right. How about running
So many
backs?
names.
Would you start Josh Palmer, Juju Smith-Schuster, or Clyde?
Oh, Clyde.
You guys how much do you like Clyde this week? Chargers run defense sucked last year and nothing changed in week 1.
No, I mean, it's not that Jacobs had a great game in week 1, but a lot of metrics went against him. The
Right.
worry that I have with Clyde, and I'll start Clyde ahead of Juju, even in full PPR. It's just the lack of usage. But I'm hoping the reason for it was because the Chiefs knew that they had a Thursday game. They were blowing out the Cardinals. There was no need to play Edwards-Helaire. He was out by the middle of the third quarter. So I kind of love it.
Exactly. Yeah.
I was
Pacheco.
going to say they treated
Clyde
him like a
almost
true number 1 running back. He had, I know he only had 7 carries or 10 touches, but 10 touches in 2.5 quarters, and then the game's out of hand.
Pretty
Don't
good.
get him hurt.
Yep. And how about scheming him up for inside the 10 targets?
He took, and this was what I was hoping he would do, and it may not happen anymore, but week 1, he was used in some of those Tyreek ways in the red zone that have taken away running back touchdowns in the past. Those scheme him up, just wide open in the end zone type things.
Did you see the second touchdown catch he had? I think it was Valdez-Scantling threw a pick on 2 Cardinals defenders that really freed up Edwards-Helaire. It was an awesome play from MVS. Great block.
Are you starting Clyde or Cordero Patterson against the Rams?
Cordero.
Yeah, I've got Cordero 1 spot higher
Okay.
because I feel better about the workload.
All right. How about the other running back in that game, Darrell Henderson or Clyde?
Clyde.
Henderson and Patterson are 2 backs that I have quite a bit higher in week 2 than I do rest of season. So I'd start Henderson and Patterson over
Interesting. Okay. Ezekiel Elliott against the Bengals or Clyde Edwards-Helaire?
Clyde.
Same.
Okay. Let's finish up here with Gerald Everett. And you guys have him around 10th. Would you start him over Dalton Schultz?
No.
Nope.
Pat Freiermuth or Gerald Everett?
Everett.
I would go with the Muth.
Even against New England?
Even against New England. Because I think the
I'm
Steelers
usually
don't
don't
care.
care about tight end matchups thing, but New England and the Saints are getting to the points of scaring me.
49ers perhaps as well.
Well, the Bills too, but really.
Oh,
but
yeah. Let's see. One more. How about Gerald Everett or Tyler Higbee?
Higbee.
In PPR, I've got Higbee 2 spots higher. I could see myself pivoting off that, though, because I'm worried about Higbee. He had so many targets in the fourth quarter when they were playing catch-up, and he stunk with them. I wonder if he, takes a big step back in terms of opportunities this week, particularly in a game that the Rams don't have to play from behind in.
I do think he'll take a big step back, but he had a 27% target share last week, so he could take a big step back from that. And
what was his
still
target
good.
share through the first 3 quarters?
Well, I don't have that information.
I can get it for you. I'm moving Everett ahead of him right now.
We'll talk about Higbee later in the week. You do have Everett ahead of Dawson Knox and Cole Kmet.